definitely need something that's comfortable, and you need something that's fuel efficient. You know, I don't care what color it is. It don't have to be green. It can be red. It can be, you know, red and gray. It can be yellow. It don't make no difference. And when you're sitting in that seat and you got it adjusted to be as comfortable as possible, when you got both hands on the wheels, arms resting on the armrest, and you can perfectly see right here where that row's going by to help you stay on target with your driving. That's the most important thing. Sometimes they'll have, you know, iron up to here and a little window here, and then you got to go like this. You're sitting in the seat, you got to be like this because there's no comfortable spot. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Get a doctor's excuse. Get something to get the right piece of equipment. Don't do that to yourself. If you're not comfortable, you will not get up and make adjustments because you're going to be so stressed about being in a hurry. This is the Krause unit, and you know, everybody's got a good unit. You know, you got to find the right piece. So you can see this is front disc, field cultivator, harrow to level things off. So we're really not digging deep. This is a real shallow type of finishing tool. And we'll probably, some fields we go over twice with this. Some fields we only go over once, just depending upon the weed pressure in the field and the texture and how things work down. And you know, you can see it's not aggressive. It's just pretty much a straight cut. It's got about a 6-degree angle. So we're not deep tillers. We conventionally till, but we're not deep. You got to have dirt. You can't let the weeds get ahead of you. You got to have enough tillage there at planting to have an even start with your crop. If you don't have that, you're going to be behind the 8-ball. It did a great job on working things down for like seeding things, you know. But what happens is anytime you put a chopper here and you got wet ground, you know, that soil would get in here and just start building up, and pretty soon this whole thing would be one big log of dirt, you know. So it's a nice machine when it's dry, but when it's wet, you know, she's a little challenging. You could have 15 tools, you know, and still you'd say, geez, we need one of those, you know. That's exactly how farming is. And learning how to separate your wants from your needs is really important, because you'll want everything when you get involved in organics, because your shed's empty from being conventional. You just sold all that stuff because you didn't need it, you know. So if you're going to farm organic, you're going to be putting some iron in the shed. We shallow moldboard plow. We can moldboard plow 4.5-5 inches deep with this nice long plow out in these nice flat fields here, and all of our fields are pretty flat, you know. We can moldboard plow shallower than, you know, a lot of people can do with chisel plows, you know. And we're growing our cover crops, and you know, we need to get them buried to a certain point so that our weeding equipment don't plug up. So, you know, I'd love to say, yeah, I could no-till and never touch the layers of biology that's growing in segments underneath of the earth, but I can only do so much. My first and most important thing is whatever it takes to keep this farm alive financially, I have to do. That's first, sustainably financially. And you know, that means doing the moldboard plow, because it buys me a lot of time. I can run over with the moldboard plow, let that skin off dry on top, run over with that finisher and plant it in 2 days. What this does is it delumps with this front roll, and it does a really nice job because everything passes, you know. So when this thing's rolling through the ground, she does a nice job of delumping. This does a nice job of leveling, and that does a nice job of firming. You know, I mean, if you just look at it realistically, what each one does. Yep, this is the model on this one is a Dunham Lure. 13-foot cultipacker. You know, and actually I used this, you know, I took a strap there and I took that those brackets apart, and I went over and I rolled all of our alfalfa seed in this year just to pack it, because it was really dry and loose, you know, and we wanted to set that seed. So I ran through it with this cultipacker as just a roller. We try never to use the disc. But it seems like there's always something that happens where you go get the disc, you know, go get the disc. You just got to loosen something up. It was used this spring. I can see it because it never got cleaned up because it's older. And the less you use something, the less you care about it. But, you know, whatever. You know, you go to a lot of sales in life. You know, I've been to 41 years of sales, and I didn't buy very little. For all the sales I went to, I bought very little. And a lot of times I'd bring something like this home that I'd get this for $800 or $900. Here's a dandy. What it is it's just a straight field cultivator, and what we do with it is this particular piece takes and is a weeding. It's a weeding unit. So what it does is it takes and gets drugged through the field, and there was a pack of stops on it, but they're gone. And what we do is we only let it go in so far. We only let it go in this far, and we germ out plants and ragweed, and you know, we use this in a couple of fields. Yeah, we use this in a couple of fields where ragweed's bad. Plus we got some bigger shovels that go around the outside and actually cut off. So we trim our true our line with this. We might only run around the outsides, you know, so sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. Yeah, this is like a buffalo. Okay. You know, you can, actually I like it better than a buffalo because it doesn't have any rubber tires. It's a lot closer from pin to shovel, you know, so I can show you a picture of a buffalo cultivator, and they're great, man. They've been around a long time. But when you're coming in and you're going to turn in a contour strip, and your tractor has got all the wrong things on it, you can't turn. You can either you're just going to ruin. You got to lift it up, or I guarantee it'll be in the row and it'll be gone. Yeah, one thing about these, they're not very forgiving. When it cuts it off 1 inch under the ground, it's gone. It don't come back. Yeah, we got two of these. They're both the same, and we got one set one way, one set the other. But this year with the rain, we only got one swing to cultivate because it never quit raining. You know, and the dirt was always wet, and we did the best we could do. This is the gauge wheel that keeps you locked on the row. Keeps things going here. This band here, you know, keeps you from drifting. Yep. And these here cutters in the back, these cutters pull. These are hilling coulters, so these are hilling. So they're set to hill. So they're bringing dirt in. They're bringing dirt in this way. So they're throwing dirt up over the row. So this corn's been rotary hoed, flex tine harrowed, rotary hoed, and then cultivated once. So we had pretty good crops. You know, we did the harvest on it for the guy, and it was like 146 or 9 average for the year of all this wet weather. We're jumping for joy. Yep. You know, and you can even go through corn that's like this big, 3 inches, and these here, they're sitting there like this. You know, and that corn's going through there, and these move all the dirt, but they, you know, they're flexible enough that they're like this, moving, and they do a great job. And use this the same way you'd use a tine weeder or a rotary hoe, but not as tall. You can only go through corn about 3 inches, 3.5. Yeah.
So why use this one and not a tine weeder?
because they didn't make a tine weeder when I bought this one. So that's all I got.
That's
Tell you the truth, man.
That's honest.
Here gives you an idea of, you know, when these are like this. So, you know, the walking beam doesn't exist here. All we've got's wheel on the ground. You know, so our rotary hose is getting wore out. So if you come up here and you look down on them, you can see the newer wheels. You know, we put new wheels where the rows are. You look at this one compared to this one, you can see there's quite a bit wore off. You know, this one's twice as wide as this one. Yeah, so the row's right here, so these are getting wore. So these will have to be replaced next year. You can see they're all different because you just go out and you buy like a 15 pack of wheels or a 10 pack of wheels, and then you replace the ones that are bad. First you mark your rows off, grab a tape, mark off your rows, come and change the 3 over the row. You know, take your best wheels. You know, like this one's getting kind of, this one's tipped, so he needs to be, his bearing's gone, so he needs to be replaced, but he's wore out anyway. You know, so he's a lone ornament. You know, you can do what you want with him. You can nail him to the barn door or wall, secure them closely, because if they come down, you can do some damage. It's a wide row, 38-inch row corn head, and actually it's a newer one. It's got, instead of steel for all of the sliding parts and wear parts, this one's plastic. So that plastic is, you know, things slide on plastic, it don't rust, you know, it don't, if you can hit it and it don't bend, you know, so there's a lot of pluses to having, you know, this type of a unit. And you know, this one's in pretty good shape. Everything was decent on it. It wasn't overpriced. You know, it's a 38, so you know, here we are buying older equipment, but you know, it's still in good shape. You know, if you're going to grow some wheat, this one here had oats run through it last. You can see some of the oats still caught on things. It's a pretty nice little header.
Nice.
And it's a 13-foot grain table.
All right.
And we bolted the flex head part of it tight so that, you know, it was flatter for us. We just we're not on dead flat ground, and we do a little plowing here, and it's driven right here off the combine. Double side drive, so that's always good. This is what's called a pickup head. This is for swathing. A lot of guys will say, oh yeah, you should swath your small grains, and you know, I like swathing about as much as I like shaving. You know, it's a drag, and we bought it for emergencies, and we try to use as little as possible. And what you do is you take a swather, which is a disc bind type with no crimper, and it lays out the windrow so that it dries. A lot of times if you got weeds, or say you plant your oats and you get a hard pounding rain and the oats don't come real fast, and you know, the grass seed usually comes in 4 or 5 days. That's up sometimes 3, and you get a bunch of weeds, beat the oats out of the ground, then you can come in and swath and salvage your stand. You know, we like to go in early and take the heads with our combines. We'll use this if we absolutely have to. We got it for emergencies because you never want to be shut out. Best thing you can do with an auger is put it in the shed. Easier said than done. You know, ours goes in the shed because then everything stays dry. You know, if that's getting rotten corn in it, and all of a sudden it freezes, and then it expands and busts a weld, and the next thing it's shaking and loose, and you know, you got to have some pride. All our stuff's not new, but we keep it in pretty good shape because you can't run with junk.